Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And in today's range report, we're going to be taking a look at another pistol from a company that I think is underrated, Walther. Now, they're a company that everybody knows about. It just seems like they're overshadowed by companies like Glock and Smith & Wesson. But I'm sure you've heard Walther has some of the best triggers in any striker-fired pistol out there, and I tend to agree. Walther and Steyr honestly beat everybody else when it comes to their stock triggers. And hopefully this one is going to be the same. And the pistol that we're going to be taking to the range, talking about and reviewing is the Walther Q5 Match. Now, this pistol is based off of the PPQ, and it is the SF model, which means it has a steel frame. And you can tell it's a steel frame because this is a pretty hefty gun. I believe its main target audience is competition shooters. In fact, it is USPCA approved for production and carry optics divisions, and IDPA for the stock service pistol and carry optics divisions. And this is supposed to be one of the most accurate pistols in the catalog for Walther, so I can't wait to get it to the range. I really feel like this pistol is trying to compete with other guns like the CZ Shadow 2. Even though that one is hammer fired and this one is striker fired, they're supposed to be amazingly accurate right out of the box without needing any modification. And I have reviewed the CZ Shadow 2 in the past, so hopefully this one is going to be just as nice. So before we get this to the range and talk about all the things that I like and don't like, as always, I want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this pistol who lent it to the channel for review. He's a local fan and subscriber named Jack. In fact, he's the first person named Jack that has done this, and so I call him Jack number 1. Yeah, I know, kind of a goofy name. And I also want to thank my Patreon supporters because through their monthly donations and support, they help keep the lights on around here, and I could not do this without their support. And if you want to join my Patreon for as little as $1 a month, there's a link in the description below, and you can see all of these videos early. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor who provides the ammunition for these range reports and makes them financially feasible for me, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And once again, I am reviewing a 9mm pistol designed for competition shooting. And most likely, you're interested in guns like this. You might even have some target guns that are based off of the 1911 platform, the CZ75 or the Beretta 92. And you might be looking for a set of customized and classic wood grips to upgrade your pistols and make them something special. Well, the grip company you need to check out is Brownworks. Brownworks is a custom grip company making a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. Mark can apply custom logos, custom engravings, custom textures, finish these grips in a wide variety of colors. He can make his own laminate woods and even apply exotic materials like snakeskin and alligator skin, making these grips unique and one of a kind. Every set of grips is made to order. He can make things that you can only imagine. So make sure to contact him and tell him what you're looking for. I'm going to put a link to his website in the comment section below, as well as a coupon code for 10% off your first order. So please go over there, check out everything he has to offer, and when you place your first order for your set of custom grips, please tell Mark the Texas Gun Vault sent you. All right, so once again, let's talk about the pistol we have on the table today, the Walther Q5 Match. This is a really darn good looking gun. So I want to give you some close-ups of it, and I want to tell you about all of the specs. So let me go ahead and adjust the camera, and let's go over what this pistol is all about. So let's get some close-ups of this pistol and talk about the specs. It is obviously a 9mm pistol. It comes with 3 double-stack magazines that hold 15 rounds in their flush-fit configuration. The barrel length is 5 inches, so it's the same length as a government 1911. Its overall length is 8.7 inches. It is 1.3 inches wide. It weighs 41.6 ounces, and that is because of the steel frame. And they claim it has a 5.6 pound trigger, and that seems a little bit on the heavy side, especially because everyone loves the Walther triggers, especially in the PPQ, and this is my PPQ Tactical. And I can tell you this has a fantastic trigger that definitely feels a lot less than 5.5 pounds. But I will have to test that and compare it with this one. And when I pull this one, it definitely feels lighter than that one. And I don't think it's anywhere near 5 pounds. It feels really good. Overall, I would say this is a full-size gun with a compact frame. Normally, a full-size frame would hold 17 rounds, but this is the design of this gun. I know this is supposed to be full-size for Walther. I just kind of feel like the length of the grips could be just a little bit longer. This gun is optics ready, but for this review, I will just be using the iron sights. They are adjustable, and we have a fiber optic front sight, and we have some lightning cuts here on the slide. It may look like the barrel is ported, but it is not. And most likely these cuts are to reduce the weight of the slide, making it more reliable. Now, speaking of that trigger, I do want to test it out. So I do have the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge out. Let me go ahead and turn it on and let me clear the averages. So let's go ahead and test the Q5 Match first. Let's drop the magazine, ensure there's no ammunition in it, and of course safety check the firearm. So for our first pull, we have 4 pounds, 10.8 ounces, and that is a lot less than what they claimed it has, and it feels really good, as I said. Our next pull, 4 pounds, 7.5 ounces. Four pounds, 7.3 ounces. Four pounds, 7.1 ounces. And finally, we have 4 pounds, 9.6 ounces, which gives us an average of 4 pounds, 8.5 ounces. That is definitely less than the advertised 5.6 pound trigger pull. But I think it would only be fair to see what a PPQ, one from the standard line, actually measures at. So I'll drop the magazine on this one, and of course, safety check the firearm. Let me clear the averages here, and let's test this trigger out. So a stock PPQ trigger has 4 pounds, 10.5 ounces. Four pounds, 12.2 ounces. So this is pulling just a little bit heavier than the Q5 Match. 4 pounds, 8.1 ounces, but I think that's enough data that we can see it's just a little bit heavier than this one, but it's still really nice. You can definitely stage these triggers if you like to ride the reset. They're really nice and very underrated. I think these and the Steyr pistols have just some of the best stock triggers you can get. So that's what this gun is all about and its specs. So let me readjust the camera and I'll talk about all the things that I like and don't like before taking it to the range. And as you can see, the trigger in this pistol is really nice. It's not the lightest, but not the heaviest. But what matters more than the trigger weight is how it feels. And Walthers just have a great trigger right out of the box. They feel great. You just have to shoot one to understand. So now let's talk about a few things else about this gun that I really like. The first thing is, it's a steel frame. It is really cool that they made a striker-fired gun with a steel frame that pretty much mimics the same dimensions as their polymer frames. It's definitely a hefty gun, and it's probably going to translate into a very nice shooting experience. This is probably going to have a very low recoil impulse. I also really like the fact they added a beaver tail to this one. If you look at the other PPQs, it lacks that. Now, I've never had a problem not having a beaver tail on my PPQ, but that feels really nice in my hand. It makes me feel like I can ride the grip a little bit higher. And then I really like the stock sights on this. I know most people are probably going to run a red dot on this, but I love fiber optic sights, and the rear sights are completely adjustable for windage and elevation. But now let's talk about one thing about this gun that I don't like, and that's going to be the grip length. Now, my favorite Walther is the full-size PDP, and that grip is a little bit longer. I kind of have bigger hands with fat fingers, and I feel like I can barely get my 3 fingers on that grip. I wish it was just a little bit longer. And it's why I say this gun feels like a full-size slide on a compact frame, even though Walther would say this is a full-size frame. It just feels a little bit small to me. All right, so that's what this gun is all about, and its specs and what the trigger is like. So now let's get this to the range and see if all that translates to a great shooting experience. So as always, when it comes to pistols, I'll start with the target at 7 yards, put a magazine through it, and just document my first experiences. Then I'll come back and tell you what I discovered. So let's go to the range. And so far, this gun is meeting all of the expectations I had for it. Obviously, it is very accurate. Even though it's shooting a little bit to the left, I'll have to adjust these rear sights, but it's also very consistent. You can see the big hole that I created in that target because those rounds are essentially going in the same place. And this gun is also very comfortable to shoot. If you can overcome its weight, it feels great in your hand. So let me adjust these sights. Let's go back to the range and double the distance of this target. I'm going to go for the head on this silhouette, and hopefully I'll continue to get a great group. And it's still grouping pretty well, but the group did open up and it's still shooting a little bit to the left, so I will need to adjust these sights just a little bit more. The gun is continuing to shoot very consistently. It feels good in my hand. The only thing I'm starting to notice is that when you stage the trigger, it can kind of surprise you. That wall is not as firm as maybe you would want it to be. A couple times I was actually slightly surprised by it. All right, so now let's take the target out to 25 yards. This is supposed to be a target pistol, so hopefully I'll continue to get good accuracy. So here we go, another magazine, 25 yards, and let's see if I take the human element out of the equation and shoot it from a bench, how good I can shoot the Q5 Match. And overall, that is a pretty good group. It still is a little bit to the left, and I have adjusted these sights almost all the way. So I am a little bit disappointed with that, but the group is pretty tight, but it's not the tack driver I was hoping it would be. This is where running a red dot on this might be the best option. So the next test I want to do is to run some hollow points through it. I don't think this is a good concealed carry pistol, but you might want to buy it for home defense. So in that case, you're going to want to know, will hollow points run in it effectively? Sometimes on these match guns where the tolerances are really tight, they don't run them well, but hopefully this one will. It is a Walther, and I've never had an issue with one. So let's go back to the range, run some hollow points through it, and just make sure it still works. And would you expect anything less from a Walther? I know I wouldn't. I put a lot of various ammunition through these pistols when I review them at the range, and this thing is feeding everything I'm putting in the magazine. It is very consistent with no issues, no failures to eject, failures to feed, failures to fire. It just runs like a top. Even though this is a match handgun, it's running like a duty handgun. I love that. Very, very reliable. All right, so the last test I want to do is a 3-in-1 test. Essentially, number one, I want to see how fast I can shoot this pistol. I'm just an average gun guy, so if I can shoot this fast, I know you can probably shoot it even quicker, especially if you're going to run this in competition. I also want to know, can I drop the magazine, get a fresh one in there, and get the gun back in action relatively quick? I have seen some people that run this in competition, and many people run a magwell or a jet funnel on it. This version doesn't have that, so will that slow me down? And I also want to know, is this gun point shootable? Is it a naturally shooting pistol if I'm not using the sights? So let's go back to the range, test these three things out, and see how it performs. And so let's break these results down. Number one, can I shoot this pistol fast? You bet I can, and that's because this trigger is so darn nice. Number two, can I change these magazines out quickly? For the most part I can, but I would sure love some type of magwell on this. Number three, is the gun point shootable? Is it naturally pointing? Yeah, all those rounds were on target, and I wasn't even using the sights. I was just pulling that trigger as fast as I could and just pointing it at the target, and you saw the results. So, what are my final thoughts on the Walther Q5 Match? This is obviously a well-built and well-designed firearm that I think is very aesthetically pleasing. It is a great pistol overall. I have to say its accuracy and consistency is pretty good. Unfortunately for me, using the iron sights, it grouped a little bit to the left, but I think that could be rectified with a nice quality red dot. I do like this beaver tail a lot. It is a little bit on the heavy side, but that could be a pro, especially because this gun does not have a ported barrel or a compensator on it. So if you're looking for a competition gun that lacks that and has a soft recoil, the weight of this is going to be an advantage. And overall, I think it does need a magwell, something a little bit bigger to help you with those magazine changes, especially if you're going to run it for competition. So on my star system, how would I rate the Walther Q5 Match? Well, I can easily give this a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Unfortunately, it wasn't the tack driver I was hoping it would be, and I shoot Walther pistols pretty good. I have to say I'm not disappointed in the results. I think my expectations of what this gun was going to be like might have been a little bit above what it actually performed at. So that was just my experience, and I do these ratings based off of what I think the gun should shoot like, especially compared to its price and what it's advertised to do. But this is definitely a high quality gun, and I could see with some time and practice, you could probably make it a tack driver. So tell me in the comments, what do you think of the Q5 Match? Is this the type of competition gun you like? Or do you prefer to go in a different direction? Maybe something hammer-fired like the CZ Shadow 2. Tell me in the comment section below. And, as always, thanks for watching.